Guys, so we're going to have a look at some of the best augments available at the moment. I'm going to simplify it for you and give you a general overview of what you can kind of fill most of your available augments. And we're going to assume you can have around kind of 12 to 15 augments. We can fill half of those up with just some really good solid augments, and then we'll look at some of the more niche ones that you might put on your carries, for example. So a brief overview of what augments are. They're basically items that you can place on your illuvials during the game. They're going to cost mastery points, and they're going to give you two options. So when you place the item down, you're either going to pick the first option or the second option. So in this example, the enemy team gains 20% less healing, or they gain 10% less energy. And you can see this one, it says on start of battle. Some of them will say on Omega, some of them will say every 5 seconds, but make sure you definitely read this little note here, because I've been guilty of missing that and thinking it's just on start of battle, but it's actually on Omega. All the augments will have a 20 cost, 30 cost, and 40 cost option, and you can take all three of those. So for these augments, we're going to assume we're playing a fairly generalized team. This may vary if you're playing a very specialized team, like maybe you're playing full rogues. These first lot of augments are going to be super solid, and I would suggest if you're starting off, you could pretty much just play these 9 augments in any team. Okay, so the first 9 augments you're going to take, this is going to be really simple because they're 3 lots of 3 of the same augments. All you're going to do is come into the team editor, and then I've typed under augments, I've typed in team energy. So the first one's going to be the biogenetic suppressor. What this one does is you can place this on any illuvial, and it's going to give the enemy team gains 20% less energy on the start of the battle. So this will work placing it on any illuvial, and you can take 3 of those. So you can say that, see, the 30 cost one is only 15% less energy, and then it goes down with the 20 cost. So I would select all 3 of those to make life even harder for the enemy team. We could also grab the Techno Leecher. So this is going to be this is going to be on a Mega, and the enemy team is going to lose energy equal to 12% of the energy cost. So every time that illuvial casts their Omega, it's going to sap the energy from the enemy team, and this is going to delay their Omegas even more. The last set of 3 augments that I would take of your starting 9 is going to be your team gains 20 energy. And again, you can place these on any illuvials, and you could take all 3 of these. So you're going to cast your Omegas faster, as well as the enemy is going to delay their Omegas. You could also consider taking the Photonic Unity. This is every 5 seconds, your team gains 8 energy. Experiment with those. There's another option. So just a quick side note with augments. Sometimes it's good to consider playing the early stage illuvials that aren't going to cost you too much, and they're going to give you the affinities and classes, but also they're going to allow you to get to the stage where you're able to play your team augments a lot sooner, because you're not spending the mastery points on placing your illuvials. So you can see here he has no augments out on the board, 0 augments, but he has really expensive illuvials. So 100 cost, 75, where a lot of mine are 30, around the 30 cost mark. Quite often you don't get to the stage where you're able to place all your augments and all your illuvials. So therefore sometimes it might be better for me to say place team augment and a early stage illuvial in comparison to the exalted illuvial, the stage 3. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that helps. As far as carries go, whether you're playing a Scoriok or a Blazer Knight or any other auto attack illuvials, you might consider taking the Photon Ripper. You can use this as just a flat 60 pure attack damage. You could even grab the greater version of this, the 30 cost, and put that on as well for even more pure attack damage. But a fun way to do this is you gain 60 crit, and again this is going to be the start of combat for the whole round. So gain 60 crit chance, and then we can pair that with on deal crit. You're going to either gain 4 crit amp, which just means your crits do a higher percentage damage, or gain 8 energy attack. So you're already critting 60+% of the time, and every time you crit, you're gaining a permanent 8 energy attack damage for that round. The final set of augments that I would suggest putting in your team would be Survival Protocol. So this is going to be gain Indomitable for 6 seconds at 10% HP. So this is going to mean you're unkillable. So you're going to survive on 0 HP for 6 seconds. This can be good if you've got a really squishy tank, or even on your carry. So this is obviously a bit more situational and maybe not applicable for every team, but definitely be aware of this one. Some of the other augments that you might find useful is the Charge Capacitor. So this is gain a flat energy at the start of combat. This might be useful if you want one of your illuvials to cast basically instantly. One last interesting one, Omnigenic Modulator. So on a Mega, you're going to gain 20 Omega power. Now this could be good in a water deck maybe if you want to see how far you can buff your Flish. You cast quite frequently, and every time they cast, they're going to gain 20 Omega power. Now, there's so many more to pick from, but I think that simplifies it quite well and gives you a good starting, maybe 13 augments that you can pick from. A lot of the time, you won't have enough mastery points to place everything anyway. So if you want to minimize the thinking that you do in between that minute round where you're setting up, I would definitely suggest just going with these team augments. You can't go wrong, especially when you're learning. And then maybe just have the one augment you put on your carry just to simplify things further. So if you find that helpful at all, make sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.